You have to see what's happening to Bitcoin as we break down from this major support level down to this next major support level. And now we're heading towards this monthly open sitting at 29,000 US dollars. But just as we predicted yesterday, at that $36,500 level, we eventually saw a pullback over 10% to the upside. And we took that trade, if you guys are in our Discord. And then we took another trade here at 33,000 where we had the previous weekly open. And that obviously reset yesterday as we talked about in our video. And we saw another 10% push to the upside. And as you guys can see, we took not just Bitcoin trades, but also Ethereum trades yesterday and XLM Stellar because we're seeing major volatility with some of these altcoins as well. So we have a lot to talk about today, not just for what's happening to Bitcoin and our downside targets, but where are we going to eventually bottom out? What's the best entry point? What's the best next long entry? And of course, we'll also take a look at some altcoins. This is Naeem Al-Abeidi. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. Remember to like the video if you guys appreciate this content. But first, let's talk about what's happening in Bitcoin, because as we predicted yesterday, we came down to this major level where we previously double bottomed here at 36,500, and we did see a 10% push to the upside. So that did act as a major support level as we predicted, and then we came down and we breached this major previous resistance level that eventually became support level, but then it eventually broke down once we saw major sell pressure come in, and that took us down to that $33,000 level where the previous weekly open was, and that's where we saw another reaction to the upside, and we took advantage of both of those trades. So congratulations to those in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, the link is in the description below. I highly recommend you guys get in there for the most up-to-date information on what's happening to Bitcoin's price. But then we broke down from this next support level, and now we're heading towards this monthly open at 29,000 US dollars. I want to talk about why I believe at some point or another we are going to bottom out, and you can see with volume, we're actually seeing a good amount of buy volume buying up these dips. And to me, this is showing that we're seeing a good amount of buy pressure despite all of the sell pressure that's coming in. And so in my opinion, I think at some point or another, we are going to eventually bottom out here. That monthly open is very critical, and that's going to be the next place that I am going to go long because, of course, this is a major level, and that's not going to reset until the end of the month, and we have such a long time until this monthly open resets, so it's a very critical level. I expect that to at least bounce up to that $32,700 level, so just from that monthly open up here, we're seeing another over 10% push to the upside, so that's going to be my next target for a bounce. But of course, we are in what we call a transitional phase with Bitcoin, which means that despite this major bullish rally, now we're seeing some sell pressure, but it's a very, very healthy type of sell pressure because you never want to see unsustainable rallies to the upside. What goes up must eventually come down. But I do believe that between this monthly and weekly open, we will most likely see a consolidation period that may allow altcoins to start increasing in value. And then from there, we could continue to see further highs for Bitcoin. Just based on the amount of buy pressure we have here, I don't believe just because we're seeing 1 or 2 days of major sell pressure, that's going to just put us back into a bear trend. I think that there's just a very healthy correction that needs to be made right now, and I do believe that monthly open is going to act as a major support here at 29,000. But for us to come even further down, realize that we do have this daily moving average sitting at this previous CME gap that's still yet to be filled at 23,795, and that is going to be the next downside target from this monthly open. And then from there, we may come down, and at most, I believe that we can come down to test the previous all-time high at 19,900 because we've yet to test the previous all-time high. When we look at this daily chart, we've never come down to test that. And anytime we break a major resistance level, we typically will eventually come down and retest that. And so overall, I believe that that will eventually get retested. But for that to be retested in the next couple of days, I think that's a long shot. That would take Bitcoin a lot further down, over 33% down, and we've already seen almost 30% downside so far. And so I don't believe that that's going to be, probable in the next couple of days, but in the next couple of weeks, I think that previous all-time high level of that $20,000 level could be retested. I think that's very possible, but for now, I think that Bitcoin is just trying to find a bottom to consolidate and possibly allow altcoins to see further increase in price, because what we can see here with Ethereum to the Bitcoin chart is we're not necessarily getting hammered here. We're actually keeping ourselves near the apex of this major breakout area that eventually, did break out. But of course, now we're seeing a little bit of consolidation. I think that this could just turn into a bullish flag here. We did form a lot of these lower highs here, and what you can see is a flag pattern starting to form. And so if Ethereum to the Bitcoin chart is able to just kind of consolidate in this area, I think eventually we could start to see a push to the upside, because when we look at others' dominance, altcoin season is still here and in effect. You can see we continue further up here with altcoins. We're seeing massive pressure to the upside for altcoins right now. And remember what we've been watching here, the weekly retest of the 50, 100, and the 200 period moving average. That's coming closer and closer every week here, and I think that's a very positive thing here. We're above the monthly open and the weekly open when it comes to altcoin dominance, and so things are still very bullish for altcoins. The market's looking very good, and what we're seeing with Bitcoin is a very healthy correction in my opinion, and Bitcoin dominance looks like it's already topped out. This does look like a blow-off top when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, especially when we go to this 4-hour chart and we see the massive sell pressure and volume that came in, that rising sell pressure, and of course we saw us top out here at the previous all-time high, at least when it comes to the 2017 bull cycle till now, where we actually started the previous altcoin cycle here at 73%. We eventually topped out. But you know what? Here's the reason all of this is happening right now. A lot of you guys kind of doubt and underplay the importance of the DXY, which is the dollar value, right? The reason we're seeing this reaction to assets, seeing a corrective period right now over the last 2 days, is because we're seeing a push to the upside for the DXY. Now, am I concerned about asset prices because the dollar value is starting to strengthen? No, because we're not really seeing anything crazy with the DXY. We've only seen just less than 2% upside since we kind of bottomed out here, and we're in this consolidation area, as I've been talking about, to watch the DXY. Yes, we're above the weekly monthly open, but I wouldn't say it's bullish just yet because the macro trend is so bearish, and we've already seen periods of times where we've seen, over 3% relief rallies, and then we continue down. We even saw here 2% relief rally, and then we continue down. And so for us to see less than 2% right now, I think isn't a big deal, but I want you to realize the importance of the DXY and what it does to asset prices, because just because we saw less than a 2% increase here in the dollar, that's creating all of this mayhem that people think is a time to panic, but it really isn't. It's just a corrective phase. But it's not just Bitcoin. Look, even gold broke down from its breakout here. It actually came out of this bullish flag, but then it broke back down because of what's happening to the DXY. And so realize that it's not just Bitcoin experiencing this. Now, when we look at traditional markets, we're not seeing as bad of a pullback, which we all know, it's the stonk market. And so, so far we're looking quite well, but I think that has to do with a lot of the international markets as well, because they're also seeing strength. Now, one interesting chart here is the gold to Bitcoin chart is over 33% up right now. And it looks like we're seeing this very bullish push to the upside. But once again, just like the DXY, we're in such a macro downtrend when it comes to gold against Bitcoin that I don't think this is a big deal. We might even come up to test this monthly open here, but I still think that things are looking very bullish for Bitcoin in comparison to gold, and this could eventually continue further down, which means Bitcoin's price will overtake that of gold, or at least the market cap of gold, and continue to grow in market cap in comparison to gold. And so I think that this is a very important chart to watch. But when we look at what's happening in Bitcoin in general, what I will definitely say is we're seeing a corrective phase. We're coming down to that $30,000 big even. We'll most likely see some sort of a pullback here. And really the way to make money during these trends and these volatile periods is to just trade these major pullbacks, right? And especially with a bullish asset like Bitcoin, I don't like to short just yet. Of course, if we start to come up higher and like maybe we come to test this weekly open, we might start taking shorts. Now we know these major resistance levels are true and valid. We can start to eventually short those. But when you look at volume, we know that Bitcoin's a very bullish asset because every time we see major sell pressure, people are buying these dips. Look, people are buying these dips, and it's getting to a point where people are buying the dips more than the dips themselves, right? So that to me is showing that things are still very bullish for Bitcoin in the macro, but in the micro, we do need a much needed correction, of course. And so this obviously is showing us that we're coming down. One potential pattern that might form here is a head and shoulder here on the 4-hour chart. I do want to draw this out here just in case this eventually does play out so that you guys can be aware of this. We do have this initial head and shoulder that forms. This was actually a miniature head and shoulder, left shoulder head right shoulder that broke down to 28,000, but this might be turning into one larger shoulder here where we've got a head here, and now we're starting to form the potential neckline. We might come down to this monthly open, we might come down a little bit lower, we might come down here, retest this area, we might even come up to retest this area. Regardless, we might be forming another shoulder. What we're going to have to look for is from this point on, now that we've formed the head, if we start having declining volume and we see this right shoulder form, then we have to keep in mind that we might potentially have a neckline here and a breakdown to the previous all-time high of 20,000 because of a head and shoulder pattern that might form. And so keep that in mind as we start to see how this price action unfolds. But once again, we're in a transitionary period, and these are some of the most dangerous times to trade. Of course, our analysts and I are constantly keeping up to date with the market, and we are trading the altcoins. We're trading Bitcoin. I think our analysts even sent another swing trade here for Bitcoin, a low-risk swing trade. Yeah, this was actually just less than an hour ago here. So that already hit one target, which is awesome. So we'll continue to post these trades in our Discord. The link is in the description below. And also, I'm going to be utilizing these live chats more often where I come in and you guys can talk to me. If you guys want to keep up to date with that, just join the Discord and constantly check if I'm in these live chats, because now I can actually stream my screen, show you guys charts and stuff. So I'm going to be utilizing that more often. But other than that, I think that we've done pretty well covering the potential downside targets here. You know, at some point or another, we're going to find a place to consolidate. We might be forming a head and shoulder pattern. All that is too premature to assume right now, but just realize that monthly open is definitely going to find some support, in my opinion, at 29,000. And it's highly probable that we come to that point at this point. And then we've got this 200 period moving average on the 4-hour chart sitting right around that $26,800 level. The previous CME gap that's yet to be filled at 23,795. When we look at the daily chart, I think that this is important to keep in mind. We've got the 50-day moving average here at that CME gap of 23,795. And then we've also got the 100 period moving average now sitting at the previous breakout level where we had the previous all-time high just at 20,000 US dollars. And so that's very positive. But when we go to weekly moving averages, you can see they're so far down here. Just the 50-week moving average is only sitting at 12,574. So we could theoretically go all the way down here and bounce and still be in a bullish trend, right? So be very careful in the markets. You know, keep yourself informed and educated. You know, subscribe to our YouTube channel because you guys know that I update you guys every single day on what's happening with the price. And make sure to turn on that post notifications button, because if there's a very important video, you guys need to know exactly when that video comes out, and that's the only and best way to do it. But other than that, I hope you guys appreciated this video, and if something does happen, I will update you guys first on the Discord, and then I will make another video, of course, as always. But for now, I don't want to go too much into Ethereum because the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is looking really well, and Ethereum to US dollar is just going to reflect a little bit of what Bitcoin is doing. So first we need to see where is Bitcoin going to want to bottom out and consolidate, and from there we can start trading the volatility and also assuming what altcoins are going to see further growth that will most likely overtake Bitcoin's growth, because it seems as if we're heading towards that season where altcoins are going to start seeing liquidity flow in from Bitcoin, and we'll see an altcoin season start. So man, what an inspiring view. Look at that, Burj Khalifa, tallest building in the world. I hope you guys are inspired by that. We almost look like, we have a Burj Khalifa forming here on this Bitcoin chart if we take all of these drawings away, right? You've got this massive, massive, massive rally to the upside. That's the world's tallest building. This is becoming the world's tallest asset, right? So pretty interesting. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, snipers. And a lot of you guys are asking me, why am I calling you guys snipers? Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/snipers. I got that username in 2009, I believe. And so we love calling our team snipers because we snipe trades, right? So thank you guys so much for watching, and until our next video, like always, snipers out.